CGTN Radio. Hear the difference.
Now the news. I'm Do Hongyu. China has launched an emergency response for floods in Sichuan and Chongqing. Forecasters say rainy days will persist in the region for the next 10 days. It comes as a lingering drought has increased the risk of natural disasters once rains hit. Meantime, the power shortage in Sichuan triggered by the long drought has been alleviated. Authorities say the generating capacity of hydropower in the region is up nearly 10% from the previous low. Power for almost all industrial and commercial use in Sichuan has resumed. Over 80% of the region's electricity supply relies on hydropower. The number of deaths from monsoon flooding in Pakistan has topped 1,000 since June. Daniel Khan is covering the flooding situation there. He says Pakistan is now seeing rainfall nearly 3 times its 30-year average.
According to government statistics, more than half of Pakistan is underwater, and millions of people have been rendered homeless as a result of flash flooding generated by abnormal monsoon rains, which have entered their 8th spell with no signs of subsiding.
Meantime, a new batch of humanitarian aid from China is expected to arrive early this week. The first batch, including 4,000 tents, 50,000 blankets, and 50,000 pieces of waterproof canvas, have been delivered to Pakistan. Millions of people in the Horn of Africa are suffering the longest drought in 40 years. The UN calls it an unprecedented humanitarian catastrophe. WHO spokesperson Carla Drysdale.
WHO is very concerned about the situation. It does lead to many families taking desperate measures to survive. Many thousands of people leave their homes in search of food, water, and pasture. 700,000 people are already facing famine in parts of Ethiopia, Somalia, and South Sudan.
Somalia, Ethiopia, and Kenya are on track for a 5th failed rainy season, with drier than average conditions expected to continue until December. The drought coincides with a global rise in food and fuel prices, exacerbated by the conflict in Ukraine. Palestine is condemning Israeli settlers for storming the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in the Old City of Jerusalem. This is the first time that the Israeli police have allowed settlers to enter the compound through the Lion's Gate. Palestinian media say the gate is solely used by Muslims. Palestine calls the move a blatant violation of the mosque's status quo. Ukrainian officials say Russian artillery fired at towns across the river from the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant overnight, adding to residents' anguish as reports of shelling around the plant fueled fears of a radiation disaster. Russia's defense ministry says there was more Ukrainian shelling of the plant over the weekend. Sergio Ramos has more.
Today, the governor of Zaporizhzhia gave an address to the people here, standing at a crater school that was shelled overnight, and I myself heard some of the shelling overnight, loud explosions here in Zaporizhzhia overnight, telling citizens how to take the iodine tablets that have been distributed here. Because of the threat of nuclear radiation from the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, about 400,000 people are being given iodine tablets in case of radioactive substances being spewed onto the atmosphere. But we know that IAEA inspectors are scheduled to visit as early as tomorrow to visit the plant, a team of 13 inspectors plus the chief's agency.
Reports say EU foreign ministers are set to back a suspension of the bloc's visa facilitation agreement with Moscow. The EU is eyeing to curb the number of travel permits issued after some member states threatened to unilaterally close their borders to Russian tourists. Countries including the Czech Republic and Poland stopped issuing visas to Russian tourists shortly after Russia launched its military operation in Ukraine. They have since demanded that Brussels enact a complete ban, but others have continued to grant the travel documents for Russian travelers. A new survey shows more than 79% of the Afghan residents believe the United States did not deliver its promise of building a stable, strong, and prosperous Afghanistan. CGTN think tank conducted the survey along with Renmin University in 24 countries, ahead of the one-year anniversary of the U.S. troop withdrawal from Afghanistan. More than 60% of the respondents believe the U.S. approach of overthrowing the government of another sovereign country in the name of counterterrorism is completely wrong. And that's the news. I'm Do Hongyu.